Hello, everybody. Welcome to the review from Izzy Sam Escape on YouTube. Before I get into the details of this look back, I want to go ahead and apologize ahead of time that if you hear the background noise once again, those are my fans going. Today it was about 80 something degrees here in Sumter, South Carolina. Being that I am not a fan of South Carolina heat, along with the humidity, I have to keep my room in a much more comfortable and cool environment. That way, when I'm attempting to wind down and do a review, I'm able to do so in a comfortable setting. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into details of what I thought about this film. The film is titled Air, directed by Ben Affleck, starring Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Jason Bateman, Chris Tucker, Marlon Wayans, and Viola Davis, establishing the story of the Nike organization seeking to court rookie Michael Jordan from North Carolina after he had just successfully led his team to the NCAA championship and won with the iconic shot that he made in terms of winning that game. And it is all about the two entrepreneurs in Sonny Vaccaro and Phil Knight attempting to revolutionize a shoe that is essentially going to change the world and bring in an athlete that becomes a shoe. I mean, he is a shoe. He is the very foundation of what the Air Jordans was all about. And anyone who hasn't been living under a rock, or maybe they weren't born in the 80s or the 90s, it's not a real spoiler, as everybody is pretty much familiar with the Air Jordan Nike shoes. I can remember growing up in the 80s in 1984, watching Michael Jordan play and thinking to myself that I want to be able to do the things that he's doing, and begging my dad, hey, Dad, let me buy me a pair of those Air Jordans, and thinking to myself, because the campaign organization with the commercials really gave you this belief that putting on the shoes will allow you, that once you step on the basketball court, that not only would you be able to play like Michael Jordan, but fly through the air. Of course, that didn't happen, but it still did not detract you from believing, being this kid in the 80s or even in the 90s, watching these commercials and becoming so mesmerized by what you were watching, into believing that one could be like Mike. Obviously, no one could be like Mike because there's only one of him. But either way, it went on to become such a global phenomenon within athletics and, of course, popular culture. This film is essentially about, is really focused on the dialogue, how cleverly written it is, and the performances involving with Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Jason Bateman, Chris Tucker, and Marlon Wayans and Viola Davis. I'm a huge fan of Jason Bateman. I've always appreciated his work when it comes to his style of comedy. His style is very reminiscent to how I'm able to respond to things at times. It's not so much about the slapstick or intentionally over the top. His is more reactionary and dry wit, and he always turns in a great performance. And it's not taking anything away from Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. He plays, every single one of the actors involved play significantly well off of one another, and they bring such unique energy and charm to their real life figures who went on to make history, that it gave you a sense of what it might have been like for them to place all of their bets onto one rookie in Michael Jordan, who would go on obviously to become one of the greatest basketball players in sports history. I mean, six NBA championships, six Finals MVPs, NCAA champion, Defensive Player of the Year, Slam Dunk champion. I mean, many times, many time All Stars, and of course All Star, and of course Olympic gold medalist. I mean, Michael Jordan has done it all in the sport of basketball, and there's never going to be another figure like him. So it really did a great job in capturing those significant moments of the 80s, where not only did Ben Affleck really still, even though you already knew the outcome, he still planted that seed of doubt with his directing, and how he was able to still plant that apprehension of you believing, well, maybe the deal's not going to happen. Maybe the deal really didn't happen, and this is just a revisionist way of attempting to rewrite history. But obviously, that didn't happen. So that to me is the mark of a true and a capable and talented director, who can still essentially make you doubt the initial outcome, despite knowing that the negative outing didn't occur at all. It went on to become quite revolutionary with their innovation and their belief in each other, despite the fact that there was doubt, fear, uh, backlash between the individuals, and until they just said, we are going to have to place all of our bets and take that leap of faith and hope and pray that Michael Jordan is on board, and obviously he becomes on board. I really enjoyed this film. I thought it was a wonderful a reflection into the 80s of 1984. I can remember seeing the commercials of Where's the Beef and Dunkin' Donuts and the new and the car phones, or well, the cordless phones and the cell phones in general. Um, the computers that I remember seeing still to this very day in elementary and middle school with Oregon Trail, and then that the Frogger, excuse me, and that turtle. I can't remember the name of the turtle game, but it's one of those educational games that I can remember. You're attempted to, I think, eat some flies, or correct me if I'm wrong. It's been such a long time, but everything about the film captured exactly what it was about in terms of the 80s, not only with the fashion but the music, and me being an 80s baby. I love 80s music, and just hearing a Night Ranger and Run DMC, and just everything about that period brought me back to the fond memories of me playing with my friends and just having the most carefree experience of living at that time. That's what it's all about. And the traditional format of how Ben Affleck utilized the camera and presenting a presentation that really gave you this perspective of an old school VHS feature that is very it's very worn to a degree, and I'm not sure if it's going to make any sense. But anyone who is watching the film will understand what I mean when they watch. The best way that I will go ahead and articulate what I'm attempting to exemplify with my views is watch any VHS feature from, say, the 70s and the 80s, and you knows how grainy the footage looks, and it's very authentic and organic, and that is what Ben Affleck did with his feature, and it's done magnificently well. I loved just feeling more at home within the 80s structure and the atmosphere in the theater setting. And I will say once again, please do not watch this on streaming. Don't download it. Watch it in the theater the way it deserves, in the way that these actors and the writers really just decided that we're going to go ahead and present this piece of history and artistic creativity by educating those who probably aren't familiar with the Air Jordan Nikes. Maybe they aren't, but either way, you learn something, and it provides a true sense of inspiration of taking that leap of faith. Overall, I'm going to go ahead and give the 2023 Air, directed by Ben Affleck, a 2 thumbs up, a 10 out of 10. I do recommend it. The next reviews that I will be contributing is going to be The Evil Dead Rises and Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Those will be coming up soon. Once again, when it comes to Air, when it comes to the film Air, let me know in the comments section what you thought about it. The link up to my Discord is there, along with my Facebook. Take care, and I hope you all remain safe and healthy. Peace out.